she didn't get to introduce herself.
Oh my gosh, yeah, sorry, because we already did it before. So Crystal, please introduce yourself.
I'm Crystal, and I'm a clerk for Oklahoma County Transit Authority, and I also own a meeting business.
Excellent. And then I think maybe Roxanne or Adriana, would you like to introduce yourselves?
My name is Roxanne Best, and I live here in Okanagan, and I own my own business, Roxtography, and Our Best Life Yoga and Coaching.
Excellent, thank you. And then Adriana, do you want to share?
Well, I guess in the meantime, I'll go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said, would you like to share your name and what brought you here?
Oh, yeah, thank you. My name is Adriana Perez Garcia. Well, I'm here because I'm planning as soon as possible to start my business. I am a beer doula, so I definitely need to learn more about social media because I'm not really good on that. So yeah.
Thank you. All right, and then Mason.
Yeah, so my name is Mason Duke, and I'd like to welcome everyone here on behalf of the Economic Alliance. We're a nonprofit organization operating here in Okanagan County, and some of the work that we do is putting on free classes like this for the benefit of the community. So we brought down Caroline Sancken here, who's put on classes like these before up in TWISP and the Met How, and we're excited to have her with us here today. So take it away, Caroline.
Excellent, thank you. And if anybody has any questions or anything pops up into your mind as I'm going through this, feel free to just interrupt. In person, you can just shout it out. If you're on Zoom, you can just unmute yourself or maybe write something in the chat and Mason can let me know. So welcome to Social Media Strategy for Small Businesses. And today I'm going to go over how to effectively build your social media presence. So since I'm new here, I thought I would introduce myself. You all introduced yourselves. So again, my name is Caroline Sancken, and I moved to Winthrop, Washington, with my husband and 2 kids from San Francisco 4 years ago. I've worked in digital marketing for roughly 15 years. And I started my career in organic social media. I'm going to go over the difference between organic and paid. So I worked with a lot of entertainment brands at a social media agency, and that was before I moved in-house to NBC, where I created the social content for shows like Parks and Rec and The Office, if anyone is familiar with those. I feel like I'm dating myself. No one knows about them anymore. I moved to paid social media in 2018, and that's where I managed ads for bigger companies like a lot of fast food, so Domino's, Jack in the Box, IHOP, and then I also did it for the U.S. Navy and Caesars Entertainment in Las Vegas. So after working a lot of years for big companies, I decided I wanted to change in 2024. So last year, I'm new to starting my own business too. And I really just wanted to help smaller businesses and nice people grow using my skills.
Nice.
So that's what I do now. And it makes me very happy. So today we're going to go over a few main topics that will make up your social media strategy. So the first is the importance of branding and visibility. The second is the power of social media and what it can do for your business. The difference between organic versus paid and when you might want to use one or the either or both. And then lastly, how to create your own social strategy. And again, please interrupt if you have any questions along the way. I do want this to be interactive. So moving on to branding and visibility, we're going to go over what is it, why is it important, and your digital footprint. And I see people taking notes, which is really great. And also I do want to let you know that I will send this out afterwards. So you will have all of these slides for you. Excellent.
We do have a couple things dropped in the chat here in the last few minutes.
Oh, great.
Kelly mentioned that she's new to her position as project coordinator for the Colville Tribes and is looking to learn new and useful skills. And similarly, Roxanne says that she's hoping to learn how to streamline her posting strategy.
Ah, perfect. All right. Well, we get to go over all of those. And then it also, if you come to the workshop next week, we're going to go into content creation, which is how you can also streamline streamline that content. And that will be really good. You will want your computers or tablets or anything for that, because we'll do hands-on. So what is branding? Branding is basically how people feel about your business, and it's a lot more than just a logo. So it's your voice, it's your visuals, it's your value, and your overall vibe. So when you are setting up your social profiles for your business, you need to think about these things. So who, what, and where? What is your business name? What type of services do you offer or products do you sell? How does a customer get in touch with you? How can they find you? What are your operating hours? You don't want to make the customer guess. So make it very easy for them to know you exist, where you're located, and how to get in touch with you. So the why. Give your potential audience and customers details about your business that would make them feel connected to you. So what is your mission? How did you get started? What's your story? That gives it that human touch that makes someone want to buy from you or use you as a service versus someone else. And then the identification piece. So this all comes in your logo, your tone of voice, your colors, and your typography. So that's like the fonts that you use in anything that you put out there. So basically in this is you want people to recognize your brand whenever you're posting about it, and you want them to be able to recall that it was you. You see that swoosh and you always know it's Nike.
Right.
You see their type and it's like sort of close together, slanted, Nike. You know, so they use the same typography, the logo. They have a certain way of expressing themselves, like just do it in little slogans that speak to Nike and who they are. So everything is really all tied together. So that way when you see something, maybe it doesn't have the Nike swoosh on it, but you can immediately recognize that it is Nike. So we're gonna look at another popular example, McDonald's, whether you eat it or not. I would imagine everybody knows what McDonald's is. And so from here, type of work, we know what they do. They're a fast food restaurant chain. And why? This is their mission statement: to make delicious feel-good moments easy for everyone. How do they do it? They're affordable, they're consistent, they provide quick service, and they have their evolving menu offerings to suit their local audience. So if you go to a McDonald's in Japan, it's going to be slightly different than a McDonald's in the United States. However, you can still tell that it's a McDonald's because they have the same logo, the same typography, the same colors, and some of the same menu offerings as they do. So you can really spot them from miles away based on their logo, their color palette, and their typography. You can see in the examples in the top right, it doesn't say McDonald's on there, but you can likely tell that that is McDonald's just from the fonts that they use. So The last thing I'll say about branding here is keep your personal and your professional separate. Unless you are an influencer. So if you are selling something and people are going to buy it because of you, then that's fine to mix the two together. However, if you're selling something like bags, for example, you know, or coffee, people don't want to see that you saw cute kittens. You know, they're coming there to find out when are you open, what's your menu, those types of things. And then you had a question.
I was just thinking, I had a mentor that I signed up under, and she was trying to tell us to make our whole, you know, Facebook page about business and delete all the people who are not, you know, and I said, I really feel like these are my personal friends and I don't want to run them off. And so I said, I would rather make it separate. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what they did.
So if you want people to know that you exist, you have to make yourself visible across different platforms. Something I will say about that is you do not need to be on every single platform, and I will go over that, and I will keep reiterating that point. But you should definitely be on the 2 business platforms if you're a business, which is Apple and Google, which I've included the QR code here. So again, when you get this slide deck, you can just scan the QR code.
And,
Yeah, because people are still using both.
Yeah.
And so you want to be visible on both of
then
those.
the Google can do that.
Yeah. And so something that I would say is just think about how you search for a business. And this is always a good rule of thumb, is to go back to how do you do things and how do you discover businesses, because that can inform your own strategy for yourself. So maybe you're driving through a new town and you want to find a good spot for lunch. You look up sandwich shop on maps and you see what pops up. And you also may look at the reviews. So reviews, again, are also important, and keep that in mind too with your business, that try and get as many positive reviews as you can from your customers. Maybe you're planning a trip and you want to know what are some things you should do or places you should eat. You can go to TripAdvisor. So again, that's not necessarily for everyone, but if you are some sort of maybe more touristy attraction or restaurant or something that visitors would want to enjoy when they come to your location, think about being on TripAdvisor. So again, don't need to be on every platform. Just think about where your potential customers are and where they can find you. Email marketing is a great way to connect with your current customer base. But just like with social platforms, you don't need to have that just for the sake of having email marketing. It's really important to have an email marketing strategy. So if you don't have that, I would just forget about email marketing. Anyway, today we're focused on social media. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of some places where you can try and get visible. And then that's all here, and you can also ask me questions later about that if you would like. So we are going to get into our first exercise. So everyone here has worksheets, and on Zoom, you can just do this on a piece of paper if you have that nearby, or even on your computer. So what I want you to do is write down 3 words you want people to associate with your brand. So think about 3 words that represent who you are, your business. And then I want you to write down 1 sentence that sums up what you do and who you serve. So think about the McDonald's mission statement and those details.
Does it have to be,
And it doesn't need to be a mission. It can
can it not be like a sentence?
exactly. It doesn't need to be a sentence. Yep. But as long as you are clear on what you do and who you serve, that will serve you in all of your marketing efforts later. And then lastly, when you're done with that, I want you to think about a brand, big or small, that you love and write down why it sticks with you. So why does it resonate with you? And for anybody who's done, does anybody want to share any one of these things? All right,
What do you wanna know?
whichever one you want to share.
Okay, so when I worked on my brand, I wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted to have sort of a vintage vibe and kind of a romantic vibe.
I love it. Yeah. And I limited you to just 3, but you can have,
Yeah.
you know,
Lots.
6, 10, but when you start to get to have too many, then it starts to confuse your branding and who you are. So,
And I try to keep it, I think I try to keep it to like pretty much 2 colors.
thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on from branding and we are going to dive into the power of social media and how you can really leverage it to benefit your business. So why does social media matter for your business? Social media really helps to level the playing field for small businesses, which means that you can still compete with all the big brands out there. You don't need to have $100,000s of dollars. You can just get on social media and compete with the Domino's and the Navy and McDonald's even. So the first one is brand visibility. So as a small business, you can showcase your products or services to a global audience 24/7. And you can reach potential customers, your audience, beyond your local area. So they don't need to be here. They can be all over the US, they can be in Europe, they can be in Asia, anywhere. Market reach. So social media really breaks down those geographical barriers, and that enables small businesses to reach customers beyond your physical location, as I just said, and tap into new markets. So platforms like Facebook and Instagram offer, if you get into the paid side of things, a lot of robust targeting options. So you can tailor all of your marketing efforts to specific demographics. You can choose interests and different behaviors as well. And then the last thing is customer engagement. So it really allows for you to make that direct communication between your business and your customers. And so this allows for personalized interactions and relationship building. So something else that's really valuable here is that it gives you a feedback loop. So you can allow, you can then get insights or address issues from your customers. You can find out what it is that they want, and then adapt your services or products according to your customers.
Oh, it looks like Kelly also wanted to share on the branding
Oh,
exercise
great.
we just completed. The three words she selected are youth, mind, and spirit. And the sentence is allowing Native youth to heal in a culturally enriched way to help their minds and spirits grow in healthy ways.
Wonderful. I love it, Kelly. Great. Any questions on these 3 things? I'm going to go through a couple slides pretty quickly, but again, you have these. So I just wanted to share with you some stats on the biggest social platforms out there. And so you can see sort of the age range that's most popular on them, as well as how many active users there are. And this will just continue to grow. I know Blue Sky is a new one that just came out, and Threads as well, but these are the biggest ones. Those are still small. We'll see what happens to them. They're trying, and who knows. And then I've also laid out basically what they're most popular for, to also help you decide which ones you might want to be on. So that's all there for different types of businesses and content. And I said this, and I'll keep saying it, that you really don't have to be on every single platform. It's not worth your time. If you have an entire social marketing team, great. But
Where do we get one of those?
I know, yep. So until, yeah, exactly. It's like you need that for free. So until you have that, really just focus on the 1 or 2 platforms that you like, where your customers are, so that way you can dedicate your efforts there. So you can go back to your worksheet or wherever you did your first exercise. And I want you to think about this question. So if someone found you on social media today, what would they learn about you in the first 30 seconds?
Facebook, and then I was like,
Know your name, and then my family.
Mm-hmm.
When I do share, I'm kind of reluctant because I'm always afraid that I should be an expert before I start speaking on different subjects. But so I've just been kind of sharing, posts about my own process of learning and improving health overall,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I guess, being open to sharing the process, like learning.
Yeah. So people can see that you've maybe developed a new, I don't want to call it a hobby, but a new interest, and you're going through the process of learning about it, which is great. Like, I think a lot of people feel intimidated to start because if you don't feel like you're an expert, then you can't actually talk about it. But there's so many people who are learning too, and being vulnerable allows people in, and you're sharing what you're learning, and you can be open that you don't know everything.
They can
And that's okay.
relate, and sometimes they can offer helpful advice and then kind of develop,
Yeah. So we're going to go into a bit of a social media deep dive so you can all understand how it works. If you know all of this, you can tell me to shut up or something in a nice way. So yeah, be like, all right, we got it. So I really like to relate social media to getting into shape. And so let's say I want to get into shape and you're going to start going to the gym. You don't really go to the gym the first time and then come back with a 6-pack, although I wish that would happen. If anyone knows how, let me know. But it's the same with social media, where you can't just post one time and then expect amazing results. It requires consistency and time, just like working out. So once you're in shape, you have to sort of keep going to the gym and working out. You can't just stop and then expect to stay in shape. So again, that's the same with social media. You have to have a level of maintenance to remain visible, or you're just going to get buried in everybody else who's out there posting. And the thing is, once you're in shape, you can either just sort of maintain that level, or you can continue to grow depending on what your goals are. So maybe you want to run a 10K, or maybe you want to grow your brand on social media by 1,000 followers. Maybe you want to start selling online. That's another goal. And so there's always things that you can do to keep growing depending on what your goals are and what you want to do. But the main thing here is you can't just go on there once, leave, and say it doesn't work for you. You have to put effort in and be consistent. So I'm gonna go over how the elusive algorithm works because everyone talks about, oh, the algorithm did this. And so I wanna explain how it works. So the goal of the social platforms and with the algorithm is to keep people on its social platform for as long as possible. So how does it do that? Basically, it's going to make sure that you see posts from people and either that you know or don't know, but with content that you will find interesting or valuable. And it knows this because you've been scrolling and you spend time on certain types of content. So it's going to keep serving you the content that makes you stop scrolling. And that is how you get sucked into spending an hour just scrolling on any sort of social platform when you had intended to go there for maybe just a few seconds. It knows how to draw you in. And so really, if you've scrolled on any social platform, you may notice that your content really starts to get pretty curated depending on what you're looking at. And so you can start to switch that and the algorithm updates. So maybe for a month you're into making sourdough bread, and then you're into gardening, and then you start to see your feed start to change. Maybe you're planning a trip somewhere, and then you start to see all this content coming about the place that you're going on your trip. It knows what you're interested in based on your browsing activity.
I've been getting into natural remedies quite a bit.
And then it's
I'm
gonna
learning a
keep,
lot,
yeah. And the thing is, it's not always a bad thing. It can save you time. You know, I was doing some home renovations. It's like, oh, I've got to find blinds. Then all of a sudden I start to see all of these different blind companies and types of blinds. And I mean, I'm not really that interested in blinds, but I needed to do it for my house. And it helped me find something that I liked. You know, something else that you might notice is that the second post is always sponsored. So it serves you the first post, which maybe is going to be something from a friend, or it might be something from someone else, and it would be like a recommended video or post that you could be interested in. The second one is always sponsored. That means someone's always paid, and it shows up in your feed. So I'm just going to go over the things on the right, the difference between connected content, recommended content, and ads. Do you all know what those are?
No.
Okay. So connected content is based on engagement. So that gets people to comment on or like or share. And this will likely come from some of your friends or friends' friends. Then you've got your recommended content. And so this is an important opportunity for brands like all of you or businesses because it's a chance to draw in new fans and followers. So if you are creating engaging and good content, the algorithm will recommend your content to someone else who might find it interesting. So it doesn't mean they're following you, but that is how you get in front of new.
And are you gonna teach us what is good content?
No, you have to do that all on your own.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. What you'll learn from me is I am very facetious. So
Okay,
yes,
that's great.
we will go over good content, and that will also come a lot more in depth in the next workshop as well. And then there are ads, which again, that's paid content. So they want to get in front of a certain type of person, and the ads are going to show up, and it'll say sponsored. That's how you know.
I don't quite get that. So second post is always sponsored. I don't really understand.
So it just means if you're scrolling down your feed, because people are paying to get in front of you, they're not going, they bump posts that are from your friends.
So like, yeah, we always see.
For
all
the
these
spot that's like,
ads and-
that's paid, and it's sort of like a newspaper.
So like there's that one, but then the second one is an ad.
Oh, okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
seem like I see so many of those.
Yeah, and they'll be sprinkled throughout your feed, but I'm just saying always the second one is an ad. So it's never gonna be from someone you follow, it will always be that's a premium paid
I stop removing myself from groups to kind of try to
Mhm.
that
Yeah, but it will always be
doesn't
there.
post.
Yep, because ads are what pays for these platforms to stay in business. And so I want to go over full funnel marketing because this is a great way to think about sort of the life cycle of someone coming into your business. And because I like to put marketing into the context of sort of everyday things, I would like you to imagine your marketing is like dating. You don't ask someone to marry you on the first date, right? Or maybe you do, if that's happening. That would be an amazing story. But ultimately, you want to get to know them first before you commit. Same thing with your business. They want to get to know who you are, what are you doing, what do you offer, why is it valuable to them before they commit to purchasing. So a marketing funnel, which is what this is really just a way to guide people from not knowing you exist to becoming loyal customers. And it's building trust at each step of the way. So an example would be, let's say you're a local bakery. So at the awareness stage, that's top of the funnel, that's your hi, I exist content. So maybe that's some behind the scenes video footage, day in the life of a baker video, highlighting some of your menu offerings, let people know you're there. Then you've got your consideration phase. So that's sort of the middle of the funnel. And that's where you tell your potential customers why you're worth their time. So something that you could post here in terms of content would be testimonials, highlighting your process of making something or highlighting the ingredients that you use. Like you're putting together a flower bouquet, show you going out into the garden and picking flowers, and this is the process of how you make a beautiful bouquet. And really, telling your story again. And then you've got your conversion. So this is more bottom. Conversion and retention are bottom of the funnel. And so this is where you make it really easy for people to buy whatever it is that you're selling. So maybe you want to share your menu with a price list. Again, you have testimonials, and maybe you can have a link for someone to make an order. So very easy to see that and say, oh, I want to order. And then you have clear CTAs, which are call to actions. So something like order now for Mother's Day or get your bouquet, something like that. And then retention is you've built up your customers, now you need to keep them because they will go to someone else. You've got to keep them loyal. So that's where you can start to think about your loyalty offers. Maybe you repost user content and then they feel special because the brand reposted something that they posted, and you don't have to create anything, which is amazing. Maybe there's a secret menu, since my example is a local bakery, and then you can say, oh, free cupcakes for anyone named Emma this week. Like something that is sort of random, but a surprise. And, that creates people wanting to follow you and engaging with you.
So I have a question. Do you have to be careful of, like, when you're doing stuff like that, like having pictures or whatever of your customers?
You need to, you have to ask them first for permission. And that's just sort of the rule of thumb. You don't necessarily need to have any sort of like legal documentation. It can just be like, hey, I'd love to repost this. Can I do it? Or can I use your photo with this testimony? Or can I just share you? Most people say yes. So, especially if they've already posted it before. And sometimes just as something that's sort of generous and nice as a business is offering them like a little coupon or like 10% off your next ride or order or something that's like, again, that's creating that loyalty where you're rewarding them for being part of your business. So it's in the name, but I also want to just lay it out so it's super clear, the difference between organic social media versus paid social media. So organic social media is about really crafting compelling posts, sharing your brand story, and creating a community that evolves naturally. no money involved. Requires a lot of effort, but no money. And then on the other hand, paid social media is really that strategic boost that turbocharges all of your efforts. So it takes a lot of time and effort to grow your brand organically, but you can just speed that up with paid media. You don't need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can do different things for a lot less, like $5 a day. So a fun fact for you, if you have less than 10,000 followers on your page, roughly 5% of your followers will see your posts on Facebook. That is not that many. And 8 to 9% on Instagram. If you have more than 10,000 followers, only 2% of your audience see your posts. So I share this with you so that way you don't feel bad when your posts aren't getting the sort of engagement that you would hope. It's really hard. Your followers aren't seeing it. And that also, again, going back to content, you can post the same thing, repurpose your content because people are not seeing it. That's just how it works.
So I noticed that some people do like where, on Facebook have your business page, and so they'll do like a followers. So does that go to every single follower on that page?
I mean, they're saying that it's going to the followers, but it's not going to show up in all of the followers.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how the algorithm works because it wants to keep you on there, even though you have friends and followers. Maybe they're not interested in your content. And so what it does is it's going to show your content to a very small, a small subset of people. So it's going to, when you post something, it takes your content and it shows it to a few of your followers and it shows it to a few non-followers. And if people skip right past it, then it gets bumped from the algorithm. And that means fewer people see it. If people start engaging with it, whether they like it, comment, share, watch a video for more than 3 seconds, then it's going to boost it and it's going to start showing it to more of your followers and more of your non-followers.
I think it's a good idea to tag people. Sometimes it seems good, but then sometimes I've had somebody block my messages when I started being salesy, so.
Yeah, I mean, tagging a specific person in the comments is okay, but I would not do it in an actual post. Yeah. So, when you write like a Facebook or an Instagram post, for example, you write the copy and sometimes you can tag a person, right, or a brand. You can tag a brand because that is more people. Tagging one person is basically showing that you only want that one person to see it. And so that's where in the copy that accompanies your picture or your video,
Don't tag that.
don't tag. Yeah, yeah. But in the comments, that's where you can tag. So you can then just follow up your post with a comment and say, at whoever, did you see this?
Yeah.
And then it gets them on there and maybe they engage with it too, and it can help boost your engagement numbers, which then moves it up into the algorithm rotation. So when to use organic social media. So basically, if you have limited budget, you can maintain a social presence without spending money. But again, you really need to be consistent on there. And yeah, that's it. For building brand awareness, so it's important to regularly post to build brand awareness. McDonald's posts all the time. Everyone knows who they are, but they can't stop posting. And again, it's like being in shape. You have to just keep going. So that way, if you want fast food and you see something from McDonald's, we go McDonald's over Burger King. So you're always competing with someone else. So you just need to be better than the next person.
And because they invest so much more in Burger King, when you think about burgers, you need to think of McDonald's. You don't think about Burger King. You may think about the same, but because they constantly in your eyes.
Yeah.
That's
It's
the first
always
thing you
there.
think.
Exactly.
you never think about hours, because if you happen to pass by,
So you need to post like 5 times a day.
well, you have to be consistent with it.
It's just consistent, yeah, and you don't have to, you need to, and that's the thing where you wanna create goals for yourself that you can maintain, because it's worse to post for a week, 5 times a day, and then be like, oh, that was too much, and then fall off. So you can say, I'm gonna post once a week on Wednesdays, and then I'm gonna see if I can incorporate more content into my week. And then I can show you how to create content where you take one post and turn it into 10, and then you have 10 posts that you've created in 2 minutes instead of
Even
hours.
knowing your audience, there's
Exactly.
a thing about Americans. You wanna be successful, you wanna show Americans not the cheese.
Yeah,
Gross.
You wanna be successful, you wanna show the Hispanic community lines, squeezing the sentence. You need to understand your audience, and that's how you post.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's
Yeah,
that's
no, I know.
attractive.
it's so true, and I'm gonna go over that too, and
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
really happy, no, that's great, you're teeing me up, that's perfect. And yeah, that's how you create good content as well, because you need to be speaking to your audience. It doesn't need to be like amazingly produced content, but you need to be speaking to who your audience is, which is why I wanted you to write down who you serve, because all of this stuff plays into each other to help you create better content and more effective, instead of trying to post 20 times a day. That's hard on anybody. I don't do it. I work in this and I can't do it. So, yep, when it was my full-time job, I did, but it was my full-time job, and there were 5 other people with me who were also doing it. So it takes a lot. I know what it takes. And when you're a small business, you don't have a team of 5 people who are dedicated to doing social media. It just doesn't work. So it's also good for content testing and refinement, so you can try things and see if it lands with your audience or doesn't. Squeezing lines. Ooh, maybe they didn't like that, but they like the stretchy cheese. Okay, great. Here we go. Let's find out, why did that work? Why did it not work? And that's where you can do your testing without wasting money. So that's a great reason for organic media. Just post it. And again, only 5% of your audience is seeing it anyway. So it's okay.
I know that if I put my daughter, Emma, in any of my videos, I get way better.
Yeah, see? And so you're like, okay, and then you can keep saying, why is it that these videos with Emma are
Cause she's
getting,
just so cute.
and there we go, yeah, and you're like, okay, I need more cute things, and so it's figuring out the why, and then also SEO benefits. So, when you regularly share content, links to your website, anything, that adds to SEO, and that will help you show up in searches when people are looking for whatever it is that you're doing.
And I think responding to others kind of on a regular basis too really helps.
Always.
Have to be in your
Yeah. And that's where you can say, instead of all the time, you can say, I'm going to set an alarm for myself, and I will come into Facebook to respond to comments 30 minutes a day. And you just do that regularly. And so it's creating these systems where you can be consistent to help you with all of that. So when to use paid social media, that's you can just have a great impact much faster. So maybe you don't have a year to try and sell online, put some money behind it, and then you can just sort of boost.
So my question is, so a lot of times I'll use paid social media for like Mother's Day.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking now, like, what if I just said, even if it was just $20 a month,
Mhm.
take a couple of things and just do paid on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, this is what I really want to be noticed, but maybe I need to do it with other things besides just.
And there's a lot of, you're doing it around the holidays, you're competing with a lot of other people who are also doing it, and so you need to start early enough.
I did.
Great.
Started in
And-
February.
All right, see, there you go. And it just, during certain periods, costs are just gonna be a lot more expensive because you're competing with everybody else for the same people. And so that's where investing in your brand awareness and that branding and visibility really has an impact on your bottom line and your sales.
You can train us, like me, You know, yellow means friendship. Go these gorgeous flowers in yellow, show whatever. And you, a lot of times, whatever you're producing, you can train eyes on what. Like when I had the restaurants, it's something to crow about. Because it had to do with the rooster. And so, but your slogan has to match your food because if you're something to crow about, and then you come in and say, it's a crap, then it's not gonna work.
So what you're saying is you gotta follow up the
Well,
product.
no, like many photographers, like my son's got married. And the photographer we choose, it does have like a background, kind of like a misty.
Mhm.
And it is like half of a second of a movie and then it's the picture. And it shows you and what you want to see. And the flowers, because he brought flowers, he brought all the stuff. So he trained us to what we want. Basically what I want, I don't know what I want, but when I saw it, it's exactly what I want. $10,000 later.
So you can just get results a lot faster by putting some money behind it. You can target specific audiences. So you're not leaving it up to the algorithm. You're like, this is who I want to go after, and it will show it to those people. Anyway, it's how you can promote your products or services. Again, you're showing your stuff to people beyond your followers because you're paying for it. And then it just allows you to remain competitive because other people are paying for that too. And so then you can show up.
And Roxanne would like to know if you'll be addressing how to do paid social.
Not during this session.
Okay.
That's a whole nother, that is a whole nother thing. And if there is interested in that, then I can, well, we can have a conversation
Good to know.
about that too.
I know for Meta, it was really easy. Like it's just,
Were you boosting posts?
yeah.
I'm gonna go over that in a little bit. Here we go. And yeah, in just a minute. And Meta does make it easy and they're geniuses about it. And I would say don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do it.
That's good to
So,
know. That's what I
Yeah,
need.
and I'm like, no, that's how you waste your money. There are certain instances where it's fine. But anyway, when to use paid and organic, that is really how you create a comprehensive strategy because you are building up your brand organically and everything you're doing on paid just continues to sort of turbocharge what you're doing organically. And so you just maximize everything that you're doing. And then you can also really measure your ROI, which is your return on investment, because you get all the metrics and that data that comes back. So you know that your post got you 5 sales. And then those 5 sales were maybe, $1,000 and you spent $5, for example. So you're like, wow, that was great. Yeah. So boosted posts. Just say no.
Just saying.
So
Most of
this
the time I do.
Yeah. This is really the middle ground between paid and organic social. And because the ads manager is they're making it a bit easier to use, but it is complicated. I'm not going to lie. I mean, that is what I do. It's my whole job. So, and it took me 3 years to learn it. Not everyone has 3 years to learn something. And so anyway, they created boosted posts. So you could just say, yep, let me throw $20, $50 at that. Great. I made so much money on boosted posts. And what does it get you? Like, it makes you feel like you're doing something, but it doesn't always necessarily play back into your goals. If you are just trying to get any eyeballs on a post, doesn't matter where they come from. They could be in New York. They could be in Omac. Great, boosted posts can work for you. If you want to get people to comment on your post, cool, a boosted post can work. If you want to do anything else, no. Like, you want to make sure it plays into your goals. And so I was working with a local business. It's a physical location. They wanted people to come to them. And they're like, oh, we did this post and it did amazing. And I looked into it and I was like, people from New Jersey and Tennessee and Florida are not going to come here, but you just paid for them to
I
see
actually
that.
had somebody comment to me, they were like, you need to check your thing, because I live in New Jersey, and while I'd love to buy your bouquets, I think that's not happening.
Yeah, and so that's where you have limitations with a boosted post versus an actual ad. And they make it really easy for you to just do it. So please don't save your money. If you have $20, keep saving those $20 until you can actually run an ad campaign, or you can use $20 to run an ad campaign. But that is an easy way to sort of throw money at the universe without it giving you back something in return. So
But
there's my
business is from Japan and they can ship.
there we go. So
anywhere.
so that could be fine for you. As long as your only goal in that is either getting people to comment on it or you want eyeballs. If you're actually trying to sell it, or you want to sort of build any sort of conversion type campaign, or you want to get leads.
So if I'm just trying to get my brand out there, so like, because in my mind, you know, a great goal would be in 5 years I could ship flowers. So then a boosted post might be okay.
It could work. Yep, exactly. Yep. And again, all of it needs to just play into your bigger strategy, and that is what I'm going to move into shortly. Because otherwise you're just throwing money at something that's not actually playing into your goals.
Yeah, in my business that I have, it did work for me because I have people from all the world that would say, I was on my way to Canada and I saw your post, so we decided to take a route and stop by. But it worked, but
Yeah.
not all the time.
Yeah, and the thing is not
Summertime
all
it
the
is.
time. Yeah, and what I'm saying is, if
Yes.
you set it up as an ad, it's just a lot more effective than it is as this. So you're not wasting your money on people in New Jersey, and you're not wasting your money on people who can't take a turn and come to your restaurant. So that's all. I'm not saying it doesn't work at all. I'm just saying you spend more money for less good
For what you
results.
get.
So this is how you can train the algorithm and create effective advertising campaigns. So I'm not fully going into, here's how you set up a paid ad, but I do want to highlight what is important in terms of setting that up and how they can work. So basically, if you're running any sort of ads without a pixel, it's like playing darts with your eyes closed, which is not a good way to play darts. So you're spending money, but the platform doesn't really know what success looks like because you're not telling it. So a pixel, and then each platform has a different name for it. So LinkedIn has an insight tag, Google has tag manager, Twitter, Pinterest, Snapchat, they all have this like Snapchat, what a Pinterest tag. So it's called something, but it's tracking, and for meta platforms, it's called pixel. And so what it does is it sits on your website and it tracks the actions of users on your website. So I know when someone has browsed specific content, if they have tried to contact me, if they have added something to their cart and then purchased or didn't purchase, initiated checkout, you can track all of these things, and that's what helps you make your advertising campaigns more effective.
So you can make like an ad from campaign from your website.
And you can say, who's visited my website? I only want to target website visitors in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days.
What if you haven't had any people on your
Then I wouldn't do it.
website? Okay.
Yeah, then I would say go, bro. You want your targeting audience size to be at least 2 million.
Oh, my.
So that's for best practices, but there are certain instances, especially for local businesses, where you're not going to have an audience size of 2 million. And so that's fine, and that's where you would adjust your budget. So you don't need to spend $50, you can just spend $10 because you have a smaller audience size. But that's where you need to get strategic and smart with it. So if you are trying, again, if you decide to expand your business and you can ship your flowers, your audience size would easily be 2 million, and that makes it a lot more efficient because it can find the people in those 2 million who want to buy your flowers versus finding 100 people in an audience size of 500 to buy your flowers.
So if you pay for it through your website, does it go on, like if I want it on Facebook, will it go to Facebook?
So this is all ads on Facebook, but if you have their pixel on your website, so it's pulling the data of people
Okay.
from that pixel from your website, and it pulls it into Meta or Facebook and Instagram. Yep, so, oh, go ahead.
There's a company, Azure Standard, that from Oregon, and they have truckers, and they ship all these plant starters. So, I mean, that's something that if they can, keep ship them safely without damage, they do a really good job.
So you have to connect your Facebook to your website? Is that how you're able to look at pixels?
So you would generate your pixel code, which is specific to your Facebook account.
So you generate that.
So
with
you
Meta.
generate the number, from Meta, and then you place that on your website.
Okay.
So it's not like you have to connect through any sort of integration necessarily, Facebook and your website. It's just you need that piece of code. That's your identification number.
Okay.
That is the same on Facebook as it is on
And Instagram?
your website. Yep,
Sensor, but
they're all the same. Yeah. I say Facebook. I'm still not used to calling it Meta, but I will still, Meta incorporates all of them. But you run everything from Instagram and Facebook through Facebook when you're doing paid. Yep, and
I've
so
tried from my website before to like boost, like it'll say, and I'm like, this isn't working, I don't know what to do. Just walk away. I'll go pick supplies.
there we go. Sometimes that's the best thing. It can be very, they change it all the time. That is also why it's like my full-time job, because every few
Thing
months
changes.
it's like a new thing, then you relearn, and then it's like, okay, now they've knocked out all of these targeting, so now you have to come up with a new strategy for it. And that's just the nature of technology and these platforms. So never feel bad when things aren't working, because it's probably the case for me too, and you just have to spend time figuring out. And
Is it necessary to open like a Facebook business account? I think that's.
you do need a business page if you do want to run. I hate that ads. So you can run, like you sign in.
Yeah.
You sign in through your personal account, and then your business is
But it's
underneath it. And there's ways to set up your business manager, so that way it's all in one place, and it actually is quite easy where you can assign roles to people. So everyone signs in through their personal account, but they can have access to certain things on your business. That's how it's set up. So you don't need to share passwords. It's just everyone logs in and they can see certain parts of your business on Facebook if you want them to. I could go into this forever because this is just like a dark hole.
yeah, I was gonna
But,
say, yeah.
I just wanted to give you a high level overview of how it works and some of the things.
Is it tracked for taxes? I think
They, if you are selling through like a Facebook or Instagram shop, then it keeps track of all of those things. How much, how many purchases have gone through the shop. So you can then send those into
Why would you have a shop?
taxes. A Facebook shop?
Yeah.
Like
Like, what would you be selling?
Like boutique stuff?
boutique stuff, yeah, like a lot of people who have Shopify stores also have Facebook. Shopify is a great e-commerce site if you want to sell things online because it integrates with Facebook. It takes care of all the pixel stuff. So it makes it just very easy. And then you can set up a shop, and so it just allows you to sell in multiple places. Again, that's sort of the digital footprint of how visible are you across these different
Right.
platforms, and how easy is it for people to buy from you. And you want to make it easy. And that's where with the Pixel, you can see like, okay, I had 20 people add things to cart and one purchase. What happened? Like, obviously there was some friction in that purchase journey, that didn't work.
Mhm.
And so then you need to go in and figure out what was that, because you just lost 19 sales. And you knew that from the pixel. So that's just how you can improve your business with data and tracking and all of this stuff. So I wanted to go over a couple examples. And maybe I won't go through all of them because I'm looking at the time as well. But basically, I'm giving you examples of people who I've worked with because those are the numbers I know that I have. And so the US Navy wanted to get more recruits, and not just 18 to 24-year-olds. They wanted 18 to 24-year-olds who were actually qualified to join the Navy based on certain health conditions and all of that. And so I talked about a full funnel approach. That is what I set up for the Navy, because it was what we wanted to do was craft specific messaging along that journey to inform people about what it's like in the Navy. So day in the life of the Navy, let's tell the story. And then who are people who are interested, like there are different roles that someone can have in the Navy. Not everyone is fighting. You can be an officer, you can be an engineer. And so that then is moving them into that consideration phase of, okay, let me inform you more. And then having another short, like a video or an image saying, you know, here are some benefits of joining the Navy, and here's how you can sign up. And so it's moving people through these stages while telling the full story of the Navy that was getting missed. And then in that questionnaire, weeding out anybody who wasn't actually qualified to be a recruit. So the people I'm sending to the recruitment centers are people who can actually join the Navy, not people who can't see. You know, it's like there are very specific things. And so by implementing this full funnel approach, there was a almost 50% decrease in cost per registration. And there was a 344% increase in registrations, which is a lot. That was over a 3-month period. And all of those were qualified. And so that's where it's super important to look at your whole funnel and investing in branding and visibility and that brand awareness, even though it's not necessarily I spend $1, I get $1 back. It pays off in the end. So the next one is Caesars, and I ran a campaign that I called Heads in Beds, because it was like, we just need to get heads in these beds. And so again, it was using a full funnel marketing approach of showing, okay, here are all the different rooms here. And then also, here's what you can do once you book a room. Go to these restaurants, do these attractions. Here's the pricing. And then making it very easy for them to book. Say, book now, you get this deal. Great. And so this one ran for 2 months, and they had $106,000 to spend on, which is a lot more than I have. Also, I will admit that. But in return, it got them $1.5 million. So it works. You know, they're like, cool, we can do that again, and let's try it for $300,000 instead, and you can see those bigger returns. On a smaller scale, this was I was working with a local shop, and they were struggling with their sales online and in their store, getting that foot traffic, and then also online, you can sell bags outside of Manhattan Valley. Everybody can use a bag. Anyway, so put together a social media strategy to tell their story, get people to their website, and then find people who would actually want to buy a bag. And so something that was exciting with this is that they started having consistent sales every day. And for the first time in 10 years, they had sales every single day in Q1, which that is a lot. And that can be a game changer for a small business. And so again, you can see this is not $110,000. This is less than $2,000 and $25,000 back. So, and then not selling really, but you know, real estate. We want to find people who might be interested in purchasing a house or land in this area. And so, you know, one of their main issues was not being able to track the impact of their marketing efforts. So they would advertise on radio or in newspapers and they have no idea what's happening from that. And so as we just went over with like pixels and everything too, you get to track everything when you're doing it online. And so again, telling the story of why it's a beautiful place to live. If you want to buy a house here, let's show some properties. And so the average cost per lead for real estate on social is between $30 and $100. And anyway, we did it for less than $10. And that's, you don't have to go through big fancy parties or anything. You get people who give you their information to buy a house for less than $10. And a lot more
Who's
people.
making all these?
Oh, like the ads or,
Yeah.
oh, that was me. But yeah, I can only show the things that I have access to.
I'm sure my ads wouldn't go anywhere near what.
But
Sorry.
But, and that's where if you know, you have to learn it and you figure out the strategy and you can be smart with it, with what you have. And
You hire somebody to create a website.
yeah, exactly. It's like, what do you have the time to do or interest? And sometimes it's like, you know what, just, I know that it can be done well and I will pay you to do it. I mean, I pay an accountant now because I try to do it myself. I don't know what I'm doing. So let me hire an expert so I know I'm not messing this up. And they can do it. I didn't spend 20 hours. They did it in whatever, like 2 hours and done, you know? So there's certain instances where it can make sense. And others where you can just do it yourself. So I would like you to work on building your funnel. And then we're gonna get into the blueprint for creating your strategy. So I'm not gonna give you that much time to do this. But I want you to think about top of the funnel awareness. So think about just a post, just one post or piece of content that you can create that will introduce someone to your brand that will catch their attention. Then I want you to think about your middle of the funnel, your consideration. So they're interested, but they're not quite ready to commit or buy from you. So what is something that you could do to help build trust or show the value? So testimonials, tell your story of this is how I started the garden and here's my process for putting flowers together.
Yeah.
And this is really hard to do and think about, but this is going to make things super clear for you when, again, you're posting online, you know exactly what you're doing.
So quick question,
Mhm.
how often should you tell your story?
As many times as you,
In a month time?
in a month. It varies, like there's no right answer.
Yeah, because I do wonder about that, because sometimes I'm like, you know, there's new people.
There's always new people, and
So should once a month I have a reel on my story?
yeah, you can even do it once a week. And you can tell parts of your story. It doesn't need to be the exact same story every time, you know, you can tell it in a slightly different way, or use a different visual, like maybe sometimes it's a video, sometimes it's a photo. You don't know what's gonna make people stop and look. And again, remember, 5% or less of people are seeing that anyway. So it's important to keep reiterating your message and getting that across. And you can do it in different ways, just tell pieces of your story.
Right.
Yep, and then go down to conversion. So bottom of the funnel, think about what content you could post that might encourage them to buy or book or donate or sign up if you want someone to sign up for your newsletter or
That's my big push this year, besides getting
Doing-
those emails,
you know,
subscribers.
yeah.
But I don't
Because-
know how to get them.
Yeah, and that's an email marketing strategy, which is different than the
Yeah.
social media strategy.
But I want to use social media to get
But
subscribers.
exactly, and that is what you should do because there's a lot more people on social media who you can get to sign up for very cheap. And then you have them off the platform, and they tend to have a higher conversion rate on emails than they do on social media. And who knows what is going to happen to social media in the future? I don't know. I work in this and I'm like, well,
It could go away.
it could totally go away. Who knows what? I don't know how it will evolve. But that's why it's also important to have your contact with your customers outside of social media as well, eventually. So
There's lots of scammers, big time.
yeah, so something to think about. And then think about retention, loyalty. So what would you do for a repeating customer? How could you make them happy? How do you turn those people into ambassadors? Because that's the best way how to get more customers. Like you send a bouquet to someone, maybe with a note that's like gift a friend a bouquet of flowers, get $10 off. And they're going to then share that with a friend. Now you just have 2 customers instead of 1 and someone works. You know, like
Yes.
ways of
Yes. And I was trying to
engaging people.
I just
Flowers
before.
to your ex-coworkers for free, that would be good.
We used to work together. Just in case. There was a thing on my website where I can do promotion, like kind of that referral program and stuff, but then things got busy and I didn't get it done.
Yeah,
So,
that's okay. I mean, that always happens. And
Yeah.
that's where it's, you don't have to do everything all at once. So focus on one thing at a time, and then you can work your way to it. It doesn't make sense to have a referral program before you have customers, you know? So it's like, okay, maybe my goal is get to this many customers, and then I can set up a referral program. It is really hard to like break through all the noise and like, I have to do everything, and you don't. Just do a few things that really matter and move the needle, and then you can cross that bridge when you get there. So now we are going into our social media strategy and how you do that. The reason you're all here today. Sorry, I filled your head with nonsense for the first
That's a
part
very good foundation.
of that. But I like to give information that you might not know, so that can help you understand all of this. So the first one, and that's why I talk about this to us as well, it needs to play into your goals. So you need to set clear goals. So this is step 1 in your strategy. What do you want to achieve? And I like to use the SMART goals framework. Has anybody heard of this before or know it? Okay, so it needs to be specific, measurable, achievable. You don't want to set a goal that you can't achieve. That feels horrible. Relevant, and include a timeline, time sensitive. So you need to give yourself a certain amount of time. And this is also, you know, when you're achieving your goals and when you're missing them. Otherwise, you're going to have a goalpost that keeps moving and you don't know what you're aiming for anymore. So I'm going to give you a few examples of goals, and I want you to tell me if you think this is a SMART goal or not. So reels, I'm just going to post reels. Someone told me that was their goal.
No,
their strategy.
I don't think that's a good strategy.
No, that is definitely not. It's not a strategy or
specific or
or
time
goal.
sensitive.
Yeah, there's nothing there besides, okay, cool. Why do you want to post reels? What are you hoping to get from it? I know nothing. So no, that's bad. Don't say that. The next one. So someone has also said this to me before. And I want to increase my followers across Facebook and Instagram. Is that?
It's at least measurable, so it's getting there.
Yeah.
It's trending in the right direction.
Yep, great. But I don't know why. Like, why? How long do you have, and how many followers do you want to increase it by? Like by 1 or by 1,000? I don't know. So again, not quite, but we're getting a little bit closer. And here's another one. They want to increase their online sales by 20%. Is this the SMART goal? Yes. It's a trick question. This one's, it's not a SMART goal. Not quite.
There's no timeline built in for one.
Yeah. So we have a number,
What
which
if it's
makes it
never ending?
confusing.
Like, I just want to increase by 20% all the time.
Yeah, but is that achievable?
Yeah,
No.
not realistic.
So, and not realistic. Yeah.
tricky.
So exactly. And we don't even really know what we're starting with. So what's 20%? I don't know.
Well, if you're
So,
starting from zero.
from 0, you can just get to 1. We are going to set a SMART goal together. I created a big company called Charbucks. Basically, I put together what their business objective is right here. And I will just give you the highlights. So Charbucks knows that their audience is on Instagram, and they believe that if more people knew about them, they would have more customers and therefore more sales. So that is Charbucks' business objective. They want more customers, so they ultimately have more sales, and they believe that their audience is on Instagram. They just need more people to know that they exist. So setting goals using the SMART framework, specific. So what we want to do is increase Instagram followers, right? So the details of that is we're clearly stating what they want to do and where they want to do it. Next, we want to make that goal measurable. So let's say we want to increase their Instagram followers by 25% from 4,000 to 5,000. That is a very clear number, so I know when I put that. Achievable. How are we going to do this? So going to post 4 times a week, going to use local hashtags, and I want to collaborate with 1 local influencer. Again, very clear how I'm going to do this. And it's realistic for me. It doesn't necessarily need to be 4 times a week, could be 2 times a week, but that's how we're going to do it. Is this goal relevant? Yes, it's in line with their business goals. So that's always something you want to double check when you're setting goals. Is it playing into your bigger picture of what you actually want to do? And then time sensitive, I'm going to say we want to do this over the next 3 months. So there's a deadline. I know how long I have to do this. And so putting it all together, this is what our goal looks like for that business objective. Increase our Instagram followers by 25% from 4,000 to 5,000 over the next 3 months by posting 4 times per week, using local hashtags, and collaborating with 1 local influencer. Now, if I handed that to any one of you, you would know exactly what you need to do. But if I said to you, increase Instagram followers by 25%, where would you start? Right? So this is also, you have a very clear idea of what you need to do and how you need to do it. So you can hold yourself accountable. So now, guess what? You get to create your own SMART goal for your business. So what do you want social media to help your business do? So I would like for you to create 1 SMART goal. It can be anything. You can have like 5 SMART goals at a time if you want, but
Can we just steal yours?
think about, sure, steal mine. Why not? That's why I gave you an example. And then you can change it to.
good goal.
It is a very good goal. I thought very hard about it. So
I don't think my brain capacity is to think that hard.
more
Ever.
coffee. But you can say post 2 times a week. You know, it's
Yeah, I
how are
think
you
I could do
going
4.
to, you could do 4, maybe you don't want to collaborate with a local influencer. It's like, you know, are there any local influencers? Yep.
Who are, there's gotta be like somebody you would consider, like, not like a big influencer, but somebody who has.
But is there like some sort of personality over here? It doesn't need to be someone who's into flowers. Like this is where you
Right,
can
no,
say,
I was thinking like a coffee shop.
yeah.
Like if we did for Mother's Day, a coffee and a bouquet.
Mhm.
I see that, other flower people do that.
Yeah.
Still their idea.
Yeah. See, there you go. And the thing is, you never have to recreate the wheel. You look and see what's working for other people, and you just
Can you
tailor
put your
it
goal
to
back
yourself.
out there?
You got it. Copy my, there's my goal. There's my goal. Yeah. And I'll go back to this actually to make it easy for you to write this all down. So you remember.
I don't exactly know what my numbers are. So if I,
And that's okay. You can say by 25% and you can say from X and
Yeah.
go back and look at that. And you don't even need to say by 25%. You could say, I want to grow my followers by 100. You can give yourself a specific number. So it doesn't matter where you started from. I just know you want to have 100 more. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't have to buy any more property. Still got lots of property.
Plants and tools.
They're all done. Keep working on this. Come on.
You got this.
Do the hashtags work?
On Instagram, not on
Facebook.
Facebook, and don't do too many.
Yeah.
Instagram uses it as a way to basically consider it a keyword. Hashtags are ways for people to search and find your content.
Yeah.
So,
But that doesn't work on Facebook. What if you're using Meta and then you just put the hashtags and it goes to both? Is that okay?
Yeah. That's fine. And then what I would do is go back into Facebook and edit it and then take out the hashtag.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can post to both and then remove
What
hashtags or just leave them in. It's also fine. Like make it easy for
Yeah.
yourself. If you have the time, then I would just remove them because hashtags are not really used on Facebook. They're used on Instagram.
Right.
And there's keywords. Oh, I see a question. Keywords. So when you're posting, feel free to incorporate keywords into your messaging because that is again what the platforms use to show your content. It's looking for what is in your video or your post or your copy so it can recommend it to people who might be interested. And Adriana, I see your hand.
Yes, I have a question. I don't know if this is like an easy one or not, but I was wondering, because I want to start my business, I was wondering, should I like promote my business under my current web Facebook page, which is under my name, or is better to start a new Facebook page under my business name? That makes
Yeah,
sense?
so, yep, that does make sense. So what you would want to do is you would set up a business page through your personal account. It needs to be tied to your personal account, but set up a business page.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes, because for example, under my personal account, I already have like a lot of friends from the area because I just moved here 3 years ago. So I don't have too much, but I have a few friends from the area. So I was wondering maybe if I just create my business Facebook page, I will lose these friends.
You won't lose those friends and it'll be separate and you can invite those friends to follow your business page. And they can choose to follow it or not, but it is good to keep them separate. And that also allows you to run ads if you ever want to do that in the future. But it keeps it very clean to keep the two separate.
Okay, thank you.
And that's something we can help you out with if you like, Adriana, is setting up that business page that's linked to your personal account, so that you have that to roll with.
Yes, for sure.
Very good.
Thank you.
I just set up a date, like a whole day with you myself.
Oh, yeah. Check my calendar.
We can help too.
Looks like Kelly has a SMART goal to share with us.
All right.
She wants to increase the number of participating Native youth by 20% from 50 to 60 over the course of the next month by posting 3 times a week, using relevant local hashtags, and collaborating with a youth activity director.
Awesome. Perfect. That is a perfect SMART goal. And now you're going to have to report back when you've done it in 1 month. We'll check in. Okay, so step 2, and we talked about this a little bit, but this is a extremely important piece of putting together your strategy and understanding how your content performs across social media. So you need to understand your audience and who you're speaking to. Who is your customer? What do they need? What problem are you solving for them? How are you making their life?
See, this is, I have
easier?
such a hard time, because how do flowers make somebody's life easier? to make them happy.
Gives them
It's not
joy
trouble.
every day. See, there you go, see, and that's where you can create like, okay,
Don't look at my
maybe,
photos.
maybe it's the guy who got himself in the doghouse and now he needs flowers. And so this is where I'm gonna go into creating your different customer personas. But there are 4 big questions that you want to answer in understanding your audience. So that first one is, who is your audience? So understanding the demographics. So look at age, where do they live, what do they do? Something that I've seen that is quite surprising with other brands is sometimes they say, oh, my audience is 18 to 24-year-olds. And then I go look and I'm like, 45 to 55-year-old men are responding to your content. So there is a mismatch in who you think your audience is and who is engaging with your content. And you need to make sure that the two are matching up. Where is your audience? So again, you don't need to be on every single platform. Just think about where your audience is. What does your audience like? So this is where you can think about their hobbies, interests, lifestyle choices, all of those things. And what content does your audience engage with? So is it images? Is it videos? Is it lists?
How do you know?
Test. And so that's where you post different types of content
Yeah.
and see what people are engaging with. People like seeing videos of Emma, so you know that there are videos that your audience is engaging with. So test doing something else. And it's like, okay, is Emma the constant factor here? So I'm gonna post a picture of Emma and a video of Emma and see, do the two get the same type of reactions? Yep, and then that's how you keep maybe changing one thing in your content to understand what it is the thing that is engaging your audience. Yep, but test. There's like test all the time. And you learn so much from it, even when you have fails, because then you know that doesn't work and you can figure out why that doesn't work so you don't make that mistake again. I actually love failing, so you can cross that off the list and say, cool, that one flopped. Now, like, let's try some of these other things. So what we are going to do, so basically, how do you make up your customer persona, which can be sort of challenging. And basically what you're doing is you're creating a dating profile for your ideal customer. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pretend that I run an eco-friendly jewelry business. And so I've created this. Here's my dream customer. I've named her Emily Green. She's 28, and she is in urban or suburban areas with access to sort of eco-conscious markets. I'm speaking to all the Emily Greens out there, but it's nice to sort of just put it together in one. So what are her interests and hobbies? I think she likes sustainable living, nature and outdoor activities, art and DIY projects, and she's really into local and handmade products. What are some of her challenges and pain points? Well, she has a hard time finding stylish and eco-friendly accessories. She's got limited time for shopping because she's busy at work. And she has a lot of concerns about the environmental impact of fast fashion. So she's not going to be shopping at Target for $5 shirts. What are her goals and aspirations? She really wants to support sustainable and ethical brands and create this wardrobe with unique handcrafted jewelry. What's her shopping behavior? She prefers online shopping because she's busy, as I've mentioned above. So now I know that's where she's going to be, and she really cares about the transparency of eco-friendly materials and products. She is active on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. So that tells me I don't need to be on YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, wherever else. It's like, that's where this person is. And what are her content preferences? She enjoys visually appealing content, showcasing jewelry. She likes seeing the behind the scenes glimpses of how they might craft the pieces and about eco-friendly materials and practices. So now, how does my product meet Emily's needs? Well, my handmade eco-friendly jewelry aligns with Emily's values. The uniqueness of each piece appeals to her desire for individuality, and everything is socially responsible, and I have a sustainability aspect, and I'm going to emphasize all of that in my marketing messages. So I know who it is that I'm speaking to, so everything I put out there is going to speak to what Emily Green and all the Emily Greens care about. That's just one person. I can have multiple personas, but that's one. And so that is how you personalize your messaging to your audience. And beyond defining the customer persona, you also want to think about your customer touch points. So what is the life cycle of one of your customers from when they first hear about you to making a purchase? Is it 1 month or 3 months or a year that you re-engage with them? And so
That you engage with them.
So think about a customer comes to you for the first time and then makes a purchase, right? Is it right away? Is it over a period of time? And so just think about your touch points with your customers along their journey from when they first start. And so that's where, again, you go back to your full funnel marketing, where you think about, here we go, they found out who I am, and now they're a loyal customer. How do you engage with them along that way? And so you can build out your own. This was just like a simple one that I put together. Again, you can look at it for reference. This could be a retail customer journey, but that helps you decide how you might talk to your customers along the way and where they might dip, where you can get them back. So now you're going to create your own dream customer. So on your worksheets, or if you're on the computer, this is what I would like you to go through and answer it. So look at that, already did it. And you can do this in your own time too, actually. Maybe that you can have some more time to think about it, because I think this might take longer than 5 minutes, but you have the framework to build out your customer dating profile. So step 3 in your strategy. How many times have I said it? 1 million? Here's 1,000,001. You don't have to be on every platform. You just have to be on the ones where your customers are. So how do you do that? Step 1, review your customer personas, however many you've created. Where are they? Go there. That's all you have to do. Yep. And again, if they're on 3 platforms and you only want to be on one, just go on the one that's the lowest common denominator, where all your customers are. So your next exercise is basically write down the platforms where your dream customer hangs out. So you can do that after you've done that customer persona exercise. I wanted to give you homework, but not too much take-home homework.
I don't have time for it.
No one has time for it.
I do not.
So step 4, as we mentioned, is creating engaging content. Because if you are not, then you're just getting knocked down and you're not able to reach your audience and increase that brand visibility.
I have a question about stories. How do you feel about stories?
I love stories.
In Insta and Facebook stories.
Yeah, I think they're better used in Instagram than Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But
myself,
stories,
I watch stories.
yeah.
I do stories on
Yeah.
Instagram, not on Facebook.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but it's easy to publish them to both. But more people likely, it was designed for Instagram, so they just stuck it on Facebook too, because why not?
Why not?
Yeah, but those are easy ways to spread awareness about something you're doing. They're good for 24 hours and then they disappear.
I try to do stories. It's easy for me to do stories. I can do stories every single day.
Yep, see, there you go. And then
Oh,
do
you
that.
just watch my stories. They're about all sorts of
there you
things. Actually, this is funny because I
How about a flower
I
in your
got-
stories?
I talked
So
to-
I know what to buy.
I talked about all the dirt on my fingernails, and somebody actually engaged with this, and they came back and they sent me a picture of a lady who got her nail job done, and only the tips were in this like really dark, it looked like dirt, and she's like, look, you're in fashion. There was no buying from that, but it was fun.
No, but it's
They sell.
again, building your brand and engaging with people, and that's all part of it, and,
Stories. Do you
um,
know this flower, blah, 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 blah. It's really, people do not know anything about flowers.
Yeah, you don't watch it.
No, because I don't.
so she's gonna write down all of her different customer personas and what they care about, and there's going to be a version of you who wants to learn about flowers, and then Nicole can create,
I talk about flowers.
educational
I do
I do
content
educational
about-
content every week.
about flowers.
I don't care about flowers.
Mhm. And so
I had to work
I-
with them.
put together 10 tips for creating good
That's pretty
content.
good.
And none of this screams hire an expensive production agency. You don't have the budget for that. You can do this all yourself. But it's really important to create the content that your audience wants to see. If you're creating content that they don't care about, it's not gonna go anywhere. And so something that I thought was quite interesting is working with Domino's. They did tests, and I mean, they could hire anybody they wanted to create very nice content, which they did. And then they also had UGC content that they repurposed from people. So UGC is user-generated content, so someone else posted it. They got permission, Crystal, as they asked, they could repost this content. And it was people taking pictures of their pizza after it got delivered. No touch-ups, it was like greasy, sometimes it looked purple where you're like, is that food? I don't know. And that worked. So I'm just saying, test different things. Always test. It doesn't need to be something that you think is incredible. It can just be authentic and real. People liked it because it was like, that is how your pizza shows up. And that is it. They knew what they were getting, and that seemed to work. And fans wanted to keep posting it because they knew that they might get featured by Domino's as their pizza.
Yeah, post pictures of your flowers, you know, and I'll
Mhm.
post you.
And so part of content is the copy as well, not just the visuals. So it's important to know how best to tell and sell your story. So here's a sample framework that you can use for this. So introduce the problem, then you can highlight pain points, discard those alternate solutions that are not yours, present your solution, unique value proposition, and then you sell the outcome. People want to see the results, like how it's going to transform their life for the better at the end. So let me put it all together for you in an example. So let's pretend that I have a business and it's an online fitness coaching platform. So this is how I might put that together. So I'm going to introduce the problem. Busy individuals often struggle to find time for regular exercise and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Here's how I highlight the pain points. Gym memberships can be expensive and inconvenient, while lack of accountability and guidance leads to inconsistent workouts and limited results. So now I'm going to discard those alternate solutions. Traditional personal training sessions are costly and may not fit in the busy schedules, while generic workout apps lack that personalized support that the person might be looking for. So now, no problem.
I felt my
Thank you.
allergies are so bad, I feel it asthma coming on, I don't wanna cough around
No
everybody.
problem.
Okay,
Thank you. Bye.
For the visuals.
Oh, yeah, of course. And then this is where I can present my solution or unique value proposition. So I can say, well, my online fitness coaching platform offers personalized workout plans, nutrition guidance, and accountability from certified trainers, accessible anytime, anywhere. And then I'm going to sell that outcome so that way they know why they should come to me. So with my platform, you can achieve your fitness goals efficiently, enjoy increased energy and confidence and establish lifelong healthy habits for sustained wellness. Who wouldn't want that, right? So
Right.
it's
For
like,
sure.
I'm just an online fitness program, but
Yeah.
what I'm selling is something a lot more than that. And I did that with those words. So the copy and the visuals go together. So some copywriting tips for you. People always buy with emotion and then they're going to justify with logic later. So an example is like purchasing a luxury watch. That's not something that somebody would purchase every day. But maybe someone sees this luxury watch, like a Rolex or something, right? Like this guy right here got that luxury watch. And are immediately, they see this in the window, they're captivated by, you know, the elegant design and the prestigious branding because it represents something, right? So they feel this sense of desire and aspiration to own this symbol of success and status. But then they need to justify that purchase because it's a lot of money. So then they may highlight its superior craftsmanship afterwards and its durability and its timeless style. So they rationalize the expense by emphasizing its potential as a long-term investment or a family heirloom, right? So they're aligning their values and they're able to justify this purchase. So that's, and think about how you might purchase something and it would be different for like a regular pair of shoes versus something special or buying flowers, you know, like everyday occasion versus special occasion. So anyway, think about how you make a purchase and it just really is important to know your audience because you're speaking to them and you need to know what triggers them to purchase. So that's how you tell that story. So this is where you can really turn your customers into ambassadors. And you can build a thriving community. And this doesn't cost any sort of money. This just is
How do
something
you
that
gather like the,
you
I guess, the feedback and like,
ask questions on your.
well, no, I mean like putting that, like, okay, so for example, somebody told me, oh my gosh, every time I see my flowers, it makes me happy.
Mhm.
So then can I just, but I can't, like, she didn't write that on anything.
You
How
can
do I-
just put it in quotes, and as long as you're not saying her name or anything,
Yeah.
you can just say
And do you put that on
a
the website?
customer, yeah,
Yeah.
under testimonials, and that's an easy way to get around it. If you don't attribute it to anybody, it's just
Testimonials.
yeah,
Movies
testimonials,
do this all the time.
reviews.
Quotes they put on the back.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, put that on your website. See, this is.
then you could have
that I
you have a section for
Testimonials.
reviews or testimonials. Yep. Yep. You can even put it underneath your flowers if someone can purchase a bouquet online, for example, then you can have a testimonial right there. Again, it's building your credibility. They're like, okay, someone already said that this is good, this is a valid purchase, I will purchase too. So you have all of this for ways where you can build your community. And then I have another exercise for you to do that once you've developed your customer persona. I want you to try and tell your story of your business. And you can use the framework that I gave you and just follow it. And then the last step in your strategy is you can do all of that stuff, but you actually have to look at the data to know what's working and what's not. If you build a goal and never go back to evaluating whether it worked or not, doesn't do you any good. So how do you measure your success? And so really, when you use the data from everything that you've been doing, it helps you to make informed decisions to really maximize the impact of all of your social media efforts. So this will help you understand what content resonates with your audience. Can you identify peak engagement times, like maybe posting at 11 a.m. versus 3 p.m. There's a big difference. Now you know you just want to post during one of those times. How are your conversion rates? Are people dropping off? That's more for your website, but understanding like, or with your videos, do people just skip right past it? Okay, you need a stronger hook at the beginning. You have 3 seconds to capture someone's attention. So you gotta make it catchy. And understanding the why. So, you know, why are people liking this? Why are they not? When you can understand that and answer that question, you make better content. You're talking more to your audience, and then you just increase your business. And so when you answer these, then you might have to go back to the drawing board and adjust some things that you're doing. But then you know that everything you're doing is all in alignment with your goals that you set in your audience that you are going after. There's a lot of data to look at, and knowing what's important to you and your goals matters. So this is where your KPIs or key performance indicators come in. There's quantitative and qualitative metrics to look at. I've listed a few for you. Like sentiment is, can't put data behind that, but you can get a gist of understanding whether people are in favor, neutral, or not liking things. Like people are very vocal on the internet about things they like and don't like. And so here are all the different things that you can measure and look at. And I put the questions in there for basically metrics and things that you can ask and what matters. Followers don't really matter as much anymore. It's engagement. It's all engagement, and that is how you are rated. So that means comments, watch time, follows, likes, saves, shares, all of that.
It's very cool.
And some resources for you as well that can help you. So I've put together some tools that can help you with content, coming up with your customer personas. And all of this will be sent to you.
Oh.
So don't worry, you don't have to take bad pictures on the screen. You will have all of it. These are great social accounts to follow for ideas and inspiration, and yeah, they will give you updates on what's happening on the social platforms, so you can stay up to date on that. Different blogs and podcasts you can choose. I don't do all of them because it's too hard. No one has, 60 hours in a day to try and do all of it. So whatever sort of speaks to you and your style of learning, feel free to
So
do
if I'm
that.
planting, I'll do podcasts.
See, there you go. So,
Yeah.
um,
We have a camera, a special camera that you can take. We have also a drone that you can make, it's no cost. You want to-
Yeah,
Flowers.
I know,
Yeah.
I already have that planned, but actually,
Go
her
ahead.
drone broke. Are you gonna run it?
No, he is
Okay.
right here.
He's
He's
the
the
guy.
boss.
He's like, I just have the ideas.
yeah,
Let somebody else do that.
so,
Mason's like, we don't.
Mason,
offer that.
honestly, I think people don't think how well of a investment is. It's really good, and he has a very good wise comments.
Turning
The
red.
salesman here.
yeah.
That's true. They need to use.
So, I know we only have 5 minutes left, so questions if anyone has it, and then I also in the deck, I've
I have a
put
question.
there my kids.
How much do you charge?
Well,
Would you
it
help people?
depends. I would help people, and I have different packages depending,
Okay.
so
Where
I'm
do
happy to
business
send you that information, because it depends on what you want. Like there's regular consulting, or I do, like, I can put together all your content for you for 3 months, or build out your audience personas. There's
Lots
different,
of different things.
lots of different things, yeah, because I want to be able to help different people, so it's sort of.
Can you
a,
send that to me as well?
and then I think I'll be able to get all
To
your
us,
email
as
address,
a resource.
definitely.
And then send me the link to that.
Yeah,
Oh, there
yeah,
it
so
is.
Kelly mentions that she's looking forward to next week. For everyone who's interested, we're gonna have Caroline back with us again on May 13th, a week from today, 10 to 12, so same time frame, same place. There'll be a new Zoom link for those of you joining online. So if you're not registered for that already via our website, the events tab, go ahead and do that now. Look forward to seeing you there.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Great, and I love,
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, it's called Content Creation Essentials.
and I love feedback too, so, and I mean, I try not to take things too personally, I just always want to be better and provide things that are helpful to you all. So if you have any comments or feedback, things you didn't like or liked, I do always love hearing it. Those are my kids. Yep, that's Hugh in the back and Eleanor, and they are 4 and 2.
Will you send me the link for that to sign up?
Yeah.
Can you teach me how to do that?
And then are there any other questions before we wrap up?
I'll buy some flowers.
I have go ahead, Adriana.
No, it's okay. I just want to say thank you so much for all this. It's too much information, but it's definitely good information. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Hey, Caroline, can you go into a little bit more, if you have it, what you're going to be covering in the next section?
Yeah, so I'll go over what's important to have on your social profiles. So Facebook and Instagram in terms of your pictures, your info. It will include how to create a content calendar, and then an intro to Canva as well for how to create content. So computers are encouraged.
Okay, and are you, will that be the final session or is there going to be a third?
That is the final session unless you want to talk to Mason and Ronnie about more. I love doing workshops, so if there are topics that you want more info on, all of these can go, like I can do high level and then get into, I mean, you just saw pixels is a whole thing, same with content. And so it's going to be very basic Canva because I've done, there's like a whole nother
Canvas.
Canva that is that. So, I mean, I'm always open to topics of interest that, again, would benefit you and what you're looking for as a business. So you can feel free to pass those on, and happy to work with anybody on that.
Yeah, Mason, I have a vote in for doing some of the higher level stuff. Or, like understanding how to leverage pixels and also how to do like A/B testing for paid advertising and like stuff like that would be super fabulous. I'm putting my vote in.
Very good, yeah. Yeah, but judging by how well attended this one was and how many people have signed up for next week's, I'd say there's a very strong chance we see something like that in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, this is super informative and it's good to have an update. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
All righty, I think we'll end it there. Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you all next week.
Sounds good.
Yes, thank you.